Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. My name is Destiny and today I will be talking about why I decided to join the Army Reserves, as well as some of the decision making processes that led up to my decision. And just so you all know, my MOS is 92 Foxtrot, and that is a supply or a petroleum supply specialist. So for those of you who don't know what the Army Reserves are, it is basically a part-time Army. So our obligation is 1 weekend out of the month, 2 weeks out of the year, and that is unless we get deployed somewhere. We get to keep our civilian jobs as well as be a part of the military organization. So from there, and I actually wrote down my ideas today, so hopefully it's a little bit more structured than last time. But I will be going to basic training at the end of October, and I will be stationed at Fort Jackson, South Carolina for basic training, and Fort Lee, Virginia for AIT, which is Advanced Individualized Training. So jumping right into why and how I even began considering the reserves, because honestly before the youth job fair, which is where I met my recruiter, I really had no interest in joining the military. So in June, at the beginning of June, I covered a coworker at a job fair. My job is an outreach coordinator, so I am similar to a recruiter where I'm trying to get individuals into our program. However, our program is free and there's really no obligation to join or whatever, just like a lot of programs. But yeah, I was there, and my recruiter was there too, and she actually wasn't supposed to be there either. So she likes to say that it was fate. I don't really know about that, but here I am. I'm part of the reserves now. So I started talking to her about the differences between being active and being a reservist. I knew I wasn't going to go active because, like I said, I really love and enjoy the job that I do now, so I wanted to keep that. So we talked more about the reservists, or yeah, the reserves, and so that really just planted the seed in my head. And so I started thinking about it. I started doing a little bit more research on it, fact checking the recruiter, because, you know, their job is to get you interested and to actually get you into the military. So you never know 100% like if they're being truthful or not. Fortunately, mine was being very truthful, and so that was a positive experience for me. So that just contributed to a positive perspective I had on the military, you know, which I wasn't really there to begin with. So when after I was done talking to my recruiter the first time, I just started, like I said, doing research on it. I began talking to my family and friends about the possibility of me joining. I was doing a lot of hypotheticals, like what if I did this, just to get a reaction out of them, to see if they would support that idea or not. And you know, surprisingly, it was a lot of positive reactions. So that also contributed to why I joined in the first place. So from there, I went and spoke to my recruiter again and got set up for the ASVAB. And the ASVAB is an assessment to see what jobs you qualify for in the Army, if you qualify at all. So I scored an 81, I believe, and that's pretty high. I was, yeah, I think I scored over 100 in each category except there was one, but it really didn't make any difference to me because it wasn't a category of jobs I was interested in to begin with. But I qualified for OCF, which is the officer school, if I wanted to join as an officer rather than enlisted. However, I did choose the enlisted route because that route had the incentives that I need. Because I'm still in school, I'm working on my MBA right now, and I owe a lot. I'm in a lot of debt, so I really wanted the incentives for the student loan repayment and whatnot. So after the ASVAB, I started, talking to more people who are or were part of the military to gain another perspective on it. And that's just because your recruiter can't really tell you everything. Even if they want to, they can't, because their job is to get people into the military, like I said, and they don't want to scare people away. So I spoke with people in different branches, but I should have did that before taking the ASVAB because there's different tests for each branch, I guess, and they score differently. But however, it didn't really, speaking to other branches, didn't really change where I was headed, which was the Army Reserves anyway. Ultimately, I decided on that branch. So if I would have changed my mind and wanted to go to the U.S. Air Force, that might have been a problem, but I didn't. I stuck with the Army, so that was lucky for me. But when I was speaking to these different people about military life, of course there were some cons, but there were a lot of pros to it as well. So I just took the time to evaluate pros versus cons, and if this was actually something I wanted to pursue. So I made that decision, yeah, I want to do this. And a couple weeks later, I went to MEPS. I stayed the night in a hotel, and the next day we did our health and physical checks to make sure that we were still qualified to be in the Army, and we were physically fit and mentally, stable enough for what was coming in basic training or whatever. From there, I swore in that same day. I made it through, and I will have a video for you guys later about MEPS because that was a very interesting experience. I didn't know what to expect out of MEPS, but it was very interesting, to say the least. So overall, my decision was based on family and friend support, incentives. My current age was very important because I feel like if I was any older, I would not have even considered it, because at that point, honestly, I plan on having a family and kids, and I want to be there. So that was a huge game changer. I'll be out of the military, or my contract will be over in 8 years. It's an 8-year contract. 6 of those years are active, and then 2 of those years I'll be on IRR, which is basically a call list if they need me to come back into duty. And another big thing was going in as an E4 rather than an E1, which is a private, because I'll be in higher rank. I feel like it was just, that was definitely a game changer for me. I feel like if I was a private, I wouldn't say I wouldn't have done it, but I think it's awesome that I can start at a higher rank, to be honest. So that's all I have for you this week, or today. I might post within the next couple of days just because I have a little bit more time. But if you did like this video, please feel free to like, subscribe, share, and comment in the comment section if there's anything you have questions on, or if there's anything else you would like to see. But until next time, I'm gonna chuck up the deuces and we will see you next time.